China has many prophecies, starting with the 3,000-year-old 10,000-year poem, then Ma Qian Ka by Zhuge Liang 2,000 years ago, then the famous Li Chunfeng and Yuan Tiangang wrote the amazing prophecy in Huibei too. Li Chunfeng would not have stopped at poem 60 if Yuan Tiangang did not push his back and reminded him the consequences of revealing the unknown. But Li Chunfeng decided to write another prophecy himself. So we have the hidden poem. Then Dukong and Song dynasty wrote the plum flower poem 1,000 years ago, followed by Liu Bowen's biscuit tale 600 years ago. Biscuit tale was supposed to be a conversation between the emperor and Liu, although some part of the conversation seemed too opera-like. The prediction seemed to hit the mark like a bullet train, but people started to question its origin when the train seemed to go off track on modern-day events. So, many people called the prophecy fake, and the author Liu Bowen a liar. Liu Bowen must have predicted that also. He supposedly wrote another prophecy, but he decided to hide it under a temple. The predictions are all about modern-day China. It was not discovered until around 1918 to 1927. It was found by Chiang Kai-shek's army when they took over the city of Nanking. The army demolished the temple, but found the carved stone. The stone started by saying Jinlin Tower, built by Bowen, demolished by Kai-shek. Jinlin Tower's mysterious appearance added to its mystery, and there are several different versions of the prophecy. But it was well known way before World War II started. So we know the predictions about the Chinese Civil War and the events that happened after could not be made up. Because of language barriers, I will show the prophecy and the English translation, and then jump to the parts we know have already been fulfilled. But I will separate on the parts that most people already knew and have agreed, and the part newly decoded by us, since many people do like to question our decodings. I have internally debated on if I should post the translated prophecy here, but I think it would be boring and meaningless. Instead, I would just point out the decoded part and let you see how the poems hid names of major players. So in this 76-line poem, lines number 1 through 27 is mostly a straightforward description of events with a few hidden names. Lines 2 to 4 pointed out the tower built by Liu Bowen. The prophet would be demolished by General Chiang Kai-shek, and that did happen around 1920, which led to the discovery of the prophecy. Then in lines 5 to 8, hid the full name of Mao Zedong, the future leader of Red China. Line 10 talked about Germany and Italy escaping punishment, obviously for starting World War II. Lines 12 and 13 talked about the red flag and the stars, which is on the flag, and how every family will suffer. Line 14 talked about the communist slogan of removing 3 mountains, the foreign invasion, the capitalism, and the old culture, and how 5 of the lowest classes in society became the honor class. Then in lines 15 to 22 showed how the Republic of China lost the Civil War. The poem predicted the governing classes were busy fighting each other, seeking power, and lost contact with the people, while the communists won the people's support and thusly victory. Then in line 23 mention President Sheng and his Vice President Li by their last name and how they fled. Line 24 is about Madame Chiang Kai-shek seeking help but was only laughed at. Number 26 talked about the ocean closed the door and the strait is just not wide enough. Probably is about the two Chinas separated by the Taiwan Strait. Line 27 talked about fields with no man to work on them, women not making clothing, which is an indirect hint of the chaotic time during the Cultural Revolution. Then talked about the conflict throughout the 20th century. The poem not only hid the names, it hid names in lines mentioned facts surrounding the names. And although the poems do not follow a timeline, related events are grouped together. Line 48 started by calling Pretty Lady's favorite, with the Gang of Four hidden in line 28 and first word in line 29. Pretty Lady is Mao's wife, Chiang Qin, who grabbed power after Mao's death, but was soon forced out and put on trial. Then first 5 words in line 29 made up the Zer in Mao Zedong's name, followed by the quote of Furious Three Tigers. Lin Biao was the second supreme leader in 1971, but he died in a plane crash while trying to escape to Russia after breaking up with Mao Zedong. Line 30 hid the name of Chen Bora, another second supreme leader, and Zhu Enlai, the longest-serving second leader. Line 31 talked about the kids back to the motherland, after a word hinting the name Deng, which is Deng Xiaoping's last name. Line 32's last word is Hu, Jin Tao's Tao. Hu is the 4th general, China's supreme leader. Number 34 talked about East, wind blow away grass. East is Mao's first name in Chinese, while Chiang Kai-shek has been called the one with grass head, as grass was part of its last name. So this one showed not both leaders, but the result of their fight. Line 35 talked about a flood chased sun away. China's third leader, Sheng Zerming, first and last name meant river flood, while the leader they imprisoned after June 4th protest in 1988 is Zhaozi Yang. Yang meant the sun, so this one showed the winner of the fight in 1989. Line 36 talked about too much desire, washed away with waves. There's only one political leader with wave in his name. His son was a rising star, a possible candidate for President Xi's job, but he was involved with scandal and corruption and now in prison. Coincidentally, the son's name was the last word in line 35, just before the line about the corruption and his father's name. Line 37 then mentioned the first name of General Chiang Kai-shek in the word Taiwan. The line said Xiang's path to heaven is through Taiwan. Then line 38 is 248, 379, followed by line 39. Problems started long ago. My interpretation is about a warning on the relationship between China and Japan, as 2 meant Second World War. 4 and 8 are the 2 communist military legions during World War II. 3-7 is about the battle that started China's war with Japan on 7/7/1937, while 9 is the 9/18 battle which started Japan's Stage 1 invasion when it took Manchukuo. Line 40 contains Sheng Zerming, the third China leader name. The number 3 about him being the third leader. The number 7 showing the 7th congressional vote that selected him as leader. And number 10, which showed the last time he was elected as the leader, followed by line 41, which started with the fourth leader's first name. Then line 42 to 44 has been the topic of many discussions, because it is after the fourth generation leader Hu. People thought it can be about the current leader, but I disagree. It talked about Ma, did not agree, and the stone sank. White flower bloom when red flowers gone. American came to Nanking. I think Ma is George Marshall, the U.S. representative to China, who played a part in the outcome of the Chinese Civil War. The red flag was blood. White flower is Japan's surrender white flag. But Japan really surrendered to America, not China, as stated in line 44. Then in line 45 and 46 talked about new disasters. And line 47 talked about 19 lady, 55-year-old, raised to new noble class. Could that be about Mao's wife? She was born in 1914, so 5 years old in 1919, but 55 years old when she was included in China's power center in 1969. While she was put to prison soon after Mao's death by Yi Jianyin. As line 49 said, Yin got rid of stone in Mao. Stone could mean marriage in Chinese. So this is really clear to the point. Line 50 talked about blood shed, which is the byproduct of power fight. Line 51 talked about horns on top of the head and eyes beam lights, followed by people no need to worry. It's a time of prosperity and peace in line 53 and 54. I think this will be the peak of China dominance. But then line 55 talked about tens of millions that died by some kind of gas or atmospheric change in line 56. It said, sheep is more violent than wolf. Does that mean the gas turned all creatures violent? Then the word air moved mountains. Line penetrating steel in line 57 and 58. Could that be the new weapon? Line 59 and 60 said people can't escape from the chasing tiger, while lucky ones lived in high ground, which may mean floods. Line 61 and 64 started by saying cities submerged in water, skyscrapers full of mud. People can't bury their parents and children that carried the dead. Line 65 to 68 said no life can escape. Even ants meet their end. Line 67 said, luckily there are two big pillars, so birds and sheep can eventually go home. Line 69 and 70 talked about an object from outer space brought life back. There is joy once again. Lines 71 to 76 said if someone can understand, then they have a chance to live through and prosper. But even that is still just a dream. I know the last part is very depressing, but I think that is why I would take such time and effort to translate the warnings to share with you. Hopefully you watched the prior boring part and realized how accurate the prophecy is, and how you should not ignore the warnings. This warning may not be for you, as I think the worst part probably won't hit us till 50 years from now. This is Ken Peters. Thank you for watching.